And a good Sunday morning, friends. It's not the show, but it's close. We're live. Rusty McCranie with you here on a Sunday morning. I hope you're doing well. Great to see you here on CFLW, covering Central Florida's weather live for you guys. And we're talking about some rowdy storms coming through our area right now. Maybe you're experiencing it as we speak. So we're coming to you live to talk about what's going to be happening here for the rest of our Sunday. Great to see you early on this Sunday morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Hi, Fiona. Always good to see you. So let's break down the situation. I mentioned it during Friday's live show that as this next front came in today, it was going to have enough instability to bring us not only some showers, but some thunderstorms. Well, those have lined up pretty nicely on this Sunday morning, and they prompted several severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, at the present time, those severe thunderstorm warnings have been allowed to expire. They've been replaced by special weather statements, but you can see the rowdy line of storms coming through, and the numbers that you see on your screen are wind gusts in miles an hour. So we've had some healthy 40+ mile an hour winds come across the area. So let's talk about kind of what's going on right now. Some of the bigger spots. We have what was just expired, a special weather statement for portions of Pinellas and Hillsborough counties. You can see as this line moved on shore, it absolutely raked the St. Pete, Tampa area with some very heavy downpours, a lot of lightning. This is the lightning count here in that area in just a 15-minute time frame. And you can see those storms just working their way right across the bridges there and into Tampa with, again, some winds in excess of 44 miles an hour there at the airport. So very windy, squally weather with a lot of lightning coming into the Tampa Bay area right now. This is crossing places like 275 and I-75 and the I-4 interchange. And it'll be moving deeper into Hillsborough County. So places like Brandon and the Seffner area on over towards Dover and Bloomingdale should all experience what's going to be a quick shot of very heavy rain and a lot of lightning, and that is building north into portions of the southern sides of Pasco County as well towards Land O'Lakes and Zephyr Hills. So just expecting a quick burst of what's going to be some near severe thunderstorm activity to come through. This could knock down some trash cans, knock down some tree limbs, maybe even some power lines, just depending on how things play out. I mean, that's kind of the situation out there right now in portions of Pinellas and Hillsborough counties. This was a very active line earlier this morning through portions of Citrus and northern Sumter, Marion towards Putnam, Northern Lake, portions of Flagler and Volusia counties at this point in time. And again, you can see those winds cranked up there in the Ormond Beach area there in coastal Volusia County of over 40 miles an hour. Still have a special weather statement out for this area right now. Let's take a look at that. So I'm going to put that on the screen for you. Special weather statement will go until 10:15 this morning. So that's going to be for the next 22 minutes here. Wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour. Now, the thing about this is, again, it's moving off towards the east at 55 miles an hour. So these individual storms within this line are absolutely racing. Again, this is kind of the summary of this right now. Moving east at 56, max wind gusts of 40, Daytona Beach, Port Orange, Ormond Beach, DeLand, New Smyrna, those are the areas that'll be the most impacted from this. But the concentration of lightning right now is going to be right on the northern sides of Volusia County over the Ormond Beach area, where again, wind gusts are right now 40 miles an hour. So Ormond Beach, Holly Hill, Daytona Beach, Seabreeze, places like that. Taking a look at that report there, they had a west wind at 40. And again, temperatures are beginning to drop. We talked about that being the other story, 66. So they've already issued a special marine warning as these storms have moved offshore for both the coastal and the offshore waters of Volusia County. Winds of up to 50 knots. All right, that's going to be the big story there. 50-knot winds. Again, that time, the storm motion is going to be around 70 miles an hour. So obviously boaters, as this front comes in, we're going to have to be watching for a lot of wind and the opportunity again to kind of just promote what's going to be some marginal severe storms for today. Wind threat's going to be the main threat out of this. Storm Prediction Center for today as well, by the way. Let me bring up day one here. Has us under that slight risk now. If you guys remember on Friday when I joined you, we were under this light green, which is just the general thunderstorm kind of outlook, if you will. Hey, there's the opportunity for some storms, but they did upgrade us to the 1 out of 5, which is the dark green. here, and you guys can clearly see that, and that includes our entire viewing area. So still the opportunity that as this line comes through, we're going to see this fill in a little bit more, and we could get a little bit in the way of some stronger storms across the I-4 corridor as they push their way south and east. Fiona says suddenly just got a wind as you spoke. Yeah, so these are going to be gusty winds, guys. First of all, there's going to be gusty winds out ahead of the main line, no doubt about that. And you'll see this kind of fill in a bit, but there will be some stronger wind gusts even behind the line. Notice Gainesville still has winds of 25 miles an hour. Again, this area of low pressure that's going to be pushing through is kind of round one. And, the big story starting tomorrow, of course, is going to be just how cold it's going to get behind all of this. But we're still in a flow right now. If I go back here and I bring on our 10-meter winds. So this is going to be kind of the wind direction right now. Where we still have mainly southerly winds outside, right? You can see our wind arrows are mainly out of the south, but you give it later today and our winds are going to start to turn more out of the northwest. So just kind of as a look, Panama City's winds right now are actually already out of the northwest. So we're still in the warm sector of this storm system. I'm gonna have a little bit of coffee while I'm joining you guys this morning. Hope you guys are doing well on this Sunday morning. Let me get this back out to our actual live. There we go. So again, we're tracking the opportunity for some strong to severe storms across central Florida early this morning. Obviously, look, if you have outdoor plans the remainder of the day, this could be impacting us. Now, potentially this gets out of here, and we'll take a look at the models as well as we go through this live stream. Potentially this gets out of here by the late afternoon hours and allows for a little bit in the way of some settling of the weather later today. But I know we've got the Scottish Highland Games going on in Winter Springs and just anything like that. The attractions forecast for today, everything's not fantastic. And the biggest concern that I have actually is the fact we have lightning in the area right now, okay? You can see the live lightning count in just over the last 15 minutes. Now this is cranked up to show every single lightning strike regardless of energy, but you get the idea that even for late January here, we had several hundred lightning strikes accompany this line as it moved through the northern portions of the area about an hour ago. It's lost a little bit of its juice, but there still is a nice concentration of lightning right now in portions of the northern sides of Volusia County. So again, there are pockets now. What's still going to be some predominantly strong active weather here, and that lightning count is still right around 100 lightning strikes in just the last 15 minutes. And again, wind gusts will accompany this at easily over 40 miles an hour. But look, it's not like this is going to be a clean line coming through. And what I mean is, yes, this is kind of the first push, and in some areas this might be the strongest storms that we get. But if you look back out into the east central Gulf of Mexico, there's still more energy to be peeled off from this system coming through. So I would expect in many areas another round of scattered showers and storms to come through later this morning and into the afternoon hours. Again, great to see you guys on this Sunday. If you're tuning in, if you want to do me a really quick favor and like this video, I'd really appreciate that. Like the live stream. If you haven't subscribed to Central Florida Weather Live, I appreciate you doing that. I do want to take a quick second and say that Central Florida Weather Live is sponsored by the lead law firm. You can see their logo on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, www.leononmelaw.com. They are your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They represent clients across the state. Anything that could impact you or your property, they're there to walk you through the insurance claims process, offering free consultations and policy reviews. Please reach out to Bobby Lean and the team there, www.leononmelaw.com. We appreciate them being an exclusive sponsor of Central Florida Weather Live. So we'll continue to get in here. This is the live look to the Melbourne radar at this point in time. And again, a lot of different things I can do here with our weather system. Just kind of keeping an eye out for if there's any portions of these cells that are coming through that are a little bit rowdier than the others, right? So, I'll be watching for the potential for some hail coming out of this, but more than likely, these are just going to be some wind makers. And again, when you look at the actual advisory from the National Weather Service there in Melbourne, and this, again, a strong thunderstorm impacting northeastern Lake and northern Volusia, the only hazard that they're mentioning right now is winds of up to 40 miles an hour, okay? Now, again, heavy rainfall and lightning are not criteria for severe thunderstorms. The only criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning is going to be the amount of wind that it produces and then the size of the hail. All right, so we're not at severe thunderstorm wind criteria, and at this point in time, we're not expecting there to be much, if any, hail out of this. Could there be a pocket, a little patch of some pea-sized hail, kind of in those fuchsia areas and those bright blues? It's possible as it crosses near LPGA Boulevard there, across the I-4, I-95 interchange. So again, pretty active weather for Holly Hill and Daytona Beach at the hour, even down towards South Daytona as well. And you can see that this line does skirt back into portions of lake. We're getting some rain right now over the Villages. Probably not the best golf morning there. I'm going to go ahead and put these winds. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at these temperatures too. It's going to give you an idea. I don't expect these temperatures to be clear to just fall off like a rock today, but they're not going to get warmer. Pretty much all of Central Florida, except maybe down in southern Brevard and Indian River counties, have already reached their daytime highs for today. Temperatures in general will actually drop the remainder of the day. It's going to be a slow drop. Again, we're not going to be cratering down into the 40s by late this afternoon, but we're going to start to see and feel the influence of that north wind coming in as well. So these are your current temperatures. Still pretty mild outside at the hour, mainly in the low to mid 70s, 73 right now in Orlando, still 72 even with the rain and storms around in Daytona Beach. So you notice that Ormond Beach has dropped down to 66. So there's even a 6-degree difference right now between Ormond and Daytona Beaches. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in. You got a specific question about the forecast? That's why I'm on live right now. Feel free to drop it down in the comments section below. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel in that way. And again, we're watching. It's going to be a lot of pretty rowdy storms here. At times, we could have severe thunderstorm warnings. At times, we could have special weather statements. At times, these could be just general showers and storms. But if you hadn't been kind of aware of the forecast, you might be caught a little bit off guard on this Sunday to see this line beginning to work its way in. Now getting deeper into portions here. So it's kind of split right now. You know, the Metro Orlando area is relatively quiet. We do have some rain sneaking back into Southern Lake and into Western Orange counties. So you got kind of two clusters of stronger storms right now into Volusia and then back into Hillsborough and Pinellas counties. And this is beginning to work its way inland right now. So towards Zephyr Hills and then basically working through I-4 right now, getting into the western sides of Polk County. Again, leading edge, pretty good lightning. Some decent wind gusts as well. And behind that still, we're going to see some of this rain feed in. Now, to also speak to a special marine warning, here you go. Just real quickly again for boaters in the Tampa Bay area. This is a special marine warning for you guys. It's for the coastal waters from Inglewood to Tarpon Springs and from Inglewood out. So basically both the nearshore and the offshore waters all the way out to 60 nautical miles. It goes until 11 a.m. Wind gusts of 34 knots or greater. So, 40-ish miles an hour or higher. Frequent lightning, sudden higher waves, and some heavier downpours. So again, in the area in blue here is under this special marine warning. Speaking of that, let's bring on our buoy data as well. What do you say? So these are the wind gusts from the buoys. Again, I have access to all of the buoys, all of the oil platforms that are out here in the Gulf of Mexico as well. And so these numbers that you see that there, and I'll just bring everyone onto the wind gusts here. So, decent winds, and all the way back here into the northern sides of the Gulf, you can just see how windy things are. And again, this is still ahead of the main storm system that's going to be coming through. And I'll touch on that a little bit later as well. I'll see you guys live tomorrow at 1 p.m. to discuss further the colder weather, but I'm not going to, discount again to kind of give you guys a heads up. Kelly says, what can we expect in the Apopka area for today? Kelly, I appreciate the question. At this point in time, Apopka here in the northwest sides of Orange County is kind of in between what is the two major areas of kind of the heavier thunderstorms. Light rain is trying to build in right now, and there is still the opportunity, certainly through the remainder of today through the mid-afternoon hours, to get additional showers and storms to move across Apopka. It's not going to be an all-day rain and storms. But again, the concern that I have is that there will be lightning accompanying most of this activity. So again, outdoor plans, we have to pay attention to that. Temperatures in Apopka should stay steady and then begin to drop slowly in the afternoon hours and then really begin to crater down as we get into tomorrow morning. But overall, it's just going to be a relatively wet day. right? From time to time, we'll have some areas with wind gusts near or over 40 miles an hour, and Apopka could be included in that. But, you know, some of this is just kind of really beginning to set in, and it's just going to kind of stay wet overall. But I appreciate it, Kelly. Thank you very much for the question. Again, you know, am I saying definitely don't be outdoors for today? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you have to be very weather aware if you're going to be. Again, the Scottish Highland Games are going on there in Winter Springs, and they're going to have to be dealing with these rounds of showers and storms coming through. And again, it's a broken line right now, and there's additional activity still to work its way into the area. So this is not going to be a clean frontal passage, meaning that we're not just going to be tracking one line of storms coming in and then that's it, we're done. You can already see some areas here that had rain and storms earlier. Showers are beginning to break back out northern sides of Citrus County into the southern sides of Marion County. Not as much wind or lightning associated with that, but still, you know, some active weather to move through that area as well. And this line should be able to get back down towards the attraction. So, you know, again, Lake Buena Vista right now is dry, but you can see a little bowing effect here. Anytime that you see a line of storms like this and there's a little bit of a what looks like a bow, and I'm talking about like a bow and arrow, so you're looking at the bow, there's an apex. That's typically a little good push of wind. And you can see Zephyr Hill had some decent wind coming through, so we're getting a little bit of an outflow there, kind of just pushing some of that rain and wind a little bit further from the line as there's a maximum of wind in that apex of the bow. So there'll be some gusts. I think 20 to 30 miles an hour. You can see Kissimmee even picking up that as well. Hope you guys are enjoying a warm beverage like I am right now, trying to, stay awake. That is good. Oh, love my coffee in the morning. I don't know about you guys. So let's break down a couple things here. I'm going to go back over to, this is the Melbourne Radar Live. Let's bring this up. I'm going to take off. All right, this is live. It's just looping. All right, excellent. So this is the live radar out of Melbourne right now. And again, one thing that I can do here is I'm going to look and just see if there's any particular cells that we need to look out for here, right? So it doesn't look like the algorithm is picking up on any one area with any additional potential severe criteria. That's good. If you guys have joined me in the past, when we have storms, you know, that really have certain areas that are quite strong, we'll get little icons on the radar screen here, and I can query those and I can look at that. But the good news is when I'm looking at this right now from the Melbourne radar, it's not showing anything. Now I'm going to switch over to the Tampa radar. Let me do this. Okay, still not seeing anything there as well. So, should be okay for now as far as anything that's going to try and get too rowdy too soon. So I like that. I like the trend, right? We like to look at trends. I like the fact that this has not been reissued as a special weather statement. This is continuing as a special weather statement. It's only for the next 6 minutes. And again, you can see that on your screen, right? It goes until about 10:15, right? It's 10:08 right now, 6 minutes, about 10:15. Ormond Beach, Daytona Beach. These are really the areas that still have those winds that could be up to 40 miles an hour. But again, from my severe weather criteria that I'm looking at here, as far as any of those individual cells, I don't see anything that's standing out. Now, let's be clear. We just had a 56 mile an hour wind gust. Okay, this is really getting close to severe weather criteria, to be quite honest, right? You got to get to 58. But if you live or you know anyone right now in Daytona Beach, South Daytona, Daytona Beach shores, that was just less than 10 minutes ago, guys. We had a 56 mile an hour wind, a west wind. So again, storms pushing that way, a west wind at 36 and a gust up to 56 right there just south of US 92. So a lot of wind coming into especially Daytona Beach and South Daytona Beach shores. 56-mile-an-hour wind. So again, let your friends know there is not a severe thunderstorm warning, although that actual report would potentially prompt them to. The problem is that this thing is almost offshore. So I'm not sure whether the Weather Service is going to actually issue a severe thunderstorm warning for this spot. It's really close. They might. If they did, it would probably be like a 10 or 15 minute severe thunderstorm warning. But I want to be clear about that is a nasty, nasty line. Let's track this real quick as well, because they don't have. So I'm going to bring up my manual tracking here. Oh, sorry about that. Let me clear that. Again, it's not going to last long, guys. And it's going to generally be kind of pushing off in this direction. So here you go. Based on this, it's going to kind of continue to go up to the south. And let me actually reset this again real quick. I need to take this out faster. Let's do this one more time. Again, forward movement here is pushing, I think it said over about 40 miles an hour, right? There we go. Now you're going to get the correct arrival times. So this is the areas that I'm most concerned about. We just had a 56-mile-an-hour wind. And again, on my system, a couple of things to point out, right? First of all, you're going to see the times of arrival pop up right there. It's 10:11, so in the next 4 minutes, South Daytona Beach shores, Port Orange, Ponce Inlet. But I can also, when I zoom in to individual areas where my cursor is, you will see the estimated time that the main area of concern will reach that particular spot on the map, and it's actually counting down. So this will be fantastic when we're talking about tornado coverage or any things that we need to get really street level specific, right? I mean, if there is a particular landmark, right, like the Magic Kingdom as an example, I could put my cursor down and we can literally count down minutes and seconds to when that storm is going to move over that area. So that's how specific we can get. Ed says, Winter Garden suggesting rain, but nothing hitting the ground, no wind either. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Ed. You know, Orange County kind of looks like that. It's very dark. The wind is picking up from time to time, but we haven't had a lot of rain actually develop so far in Orange County. But, and I'm going to move this up just a little bit here. Let's see. So let me move this up. That was too far. So again, if you're just tuning in, we had a 56-mile-an-hour wind gust there just east of I-95 and just west of the Daytona Beach area. And so I've put on our storm track here. Again, it's going to be short-lived, but this area is going to be significantly impacted, which could produce winds that are damaging, maybe up to 60 miles an hour. Again, there's your 56-mile-an-hour wind gust reported just at the top of the hour. So this is not an hour ago report. This is what's happening right now. These could be damaging winds. These could be knocking down trees, limbs, power lines, any loose objects that are light in anyone's yards. So that's the main concern. Not really concerned about there being any hail associated with this, but this will be a pretty good wind threat here. And again, this continues to move in. Now, the interesting thing about this too is that, so I've got this line painted on, right? And it's counting down as we speak. So because this area, the line has already come through, it's already showing us since impact. So the main area of concern has already passed this area. So we'll be able to kind of track this, guys, in real time together. So right now, for places like South Daytona, we're about a minute away from seeing that leading gust front come through where we could have the opportunity for 60-mile-an-hour winds. For Daytona Beach itself, again, we've already had the strongest winds come through there, and they're now offshore. For Daytona Beach shores, we're about a minute away from, again, that gust front hitting your area. For our friends in Port Orange, we're about 3.5 minutes away as we track, again, this pushing down to the south and to the east. And again, the special weather statement, and you can see that counting down live in real time here. Thank you, Fiona. I appreciate that. We've invested a lot of resources money and other things to bring you guys this wonderful system and the way that we can track this in real time. I got to tell you something, guys. I was in television for 25 years, okay? Worked at some very big markets and some very high-profile stations. And this weather system as an analysis tool, meaning what's going on in real time and the things I could bring you guys, is the best I've ever used. And it's only going to get better, as a matter of fact. So really happy to bring this to you. But again, it's very simple. It allows me to tell the story very, very simplistically for you, right? All the information is on the screen. This is very easy to see as well. But Fiona, I appreciate that. Thank you. So again, I'm going to take off the manual track so we can just see the update. And there it is right there. So these right here on this leading edge, guys, if there's going to be 50-mile-an-hour plus winds, it's going to be right on that leading edge. And again, we're still live here. This is the live radar out of Melbourne. Yeah, look at that. So Ed was mentioning Winter Garden. You can see some rain beginning to move back in. It's picking up a little bit. South sides of Lake County, Claremont South down 33 and 27. It'll be moving across the Turnpike and 50. Oakland and the Hamlin area and Winter Garden and Ocoee. Again, it's not a lot, and some of this isn't even reaching the ground yet, but you get the idea that this moisture is kind of just stringing to the north and to the east, and even outside of where we have some rain, some winds are easily gusting over 30 miles an hour. It's the broken line back into the southern sides of Marion County right now, northern Sumter, portions of Citrus counties. And again, the strongest storm right now by far is right here, just beginning to exit the coastline, but I'm still concerned about South Daytona and Port Orange right here on this side because we just had a 56-mile-an-hour wind. And look, if you guys live in this area, let me know in the comments section below if anyone, if you know anyone who lives in that area as well. Maybe they were a little surprised by some of the rowdy activity that they got. Again, as you would expect, this line has really kind of flared up over the coastal waters and offshore waters, and so special marine warning has now been reissued, and they've upped the winds now 49 knots, so well over 50-mile-an-hour winds are expected here in our areas in blue. And again, even though we do not have a special weather statement anymore for the Tampa area, this is some pretty rowdy weather from Dover back down towards Brandon and Seffner and Mango. Again, not severe criteria, a little bit of lightning. You can see the live lightning count as well. So anytime that I stop out of view and you see the number, that's how many lightning strikes this particular view has had in the last 15 minutes. So if I zoom out, you're gonna see that count go up, right? So it's just whatever that view is, how many lightning strikes have we had in just the last 15 minutes? So again, if you live in portions of, Pinellas and Hillsborough counties, but eventually as we get into Manatee and Sarasota, this will begin to drift south and east as well. So it's going to be getting into coastal Manatee and Sarasota. So places like Bradenton, and Sarasota, up the road towards Ruskin, this is all coming your way. You're picking up some winds ahead of that right now. And again, they're 25, 30 miles an hour. There was some stronger wind gusts here just a little bit earlier. If I go back over to, this is going to be a composite radar, but it lets me loop it up a little bit longer in time so you can see the time on your screen there. A little bit earlier, as these storms came in, we had a near 50-mile-an-hour wind gust there at the airport in St. Pete. So maybe if you're just tuning in, but you live in that area, that's what you saw. Again, these were all severe thunderstorm warnings, but the interesting thing is that the strongest wind gust just occurred at the top of the hour, and it did not have a severe thunderstorm warning associated with it. Again, it's a really tough thing for the Weather Service in Melbourne because when a storm gets very, very strong right before it goes offshore, they have to question, do we want to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for a storm that's only going to be on the coast for the next 5 to 10 minutes? Sometimes they will, depending on what they see. Sometimes they won't. Now, I want to be clear, 56 still doesn't actually necessitate a severe thunderstorm warning, right? We're not even at the criteria, but if they thought that it might pulse up a little bit more, they probably would have. But it looks like at this point in time, because we've hit past 10:15, that special weather statement has been allowed to expire. Now, I want to be clear, that does not mean that we still don't have some extremely strong winds. They're going to be working its way through the southern sides of Daytona Beach, Port Orange, Wilbur by the Sea, down towards Potts Inlet, places like that. Fiona says rain now in Altamont Springs. Appreciate it, Fiona. Thank you for that update. Again, if you guys want to chime in, let me know exactly where you are and what the weather is like. That always helps tell the story as well, right? So Fiona says, hey, look, ground truth, I'm getting some rain. Ed there in Winter Garden said, not much as of yet, but more will be coming. So that helps tell the story for everyone, and I appreciate that. Also helps to support the channel. Believe it or not, liking this live stream and commenting helps what we call the interaction. Gets more eyes on. More the YouTube will suggest Central Florida Weather Live to more folks as more folks interact. So I appreciate you guys joining me. Let's take a second and kind of break down what the remainder of the day is going to look like. Okay, so I'm going to come out here. This is just kind of to get my model set and then bring this back in. And then we'll take a look at advisories. We'll look at everything. A little bit of a lull in the storms right now, which is great news. And hopefully their intensity will continue to come down. But while I have a moment, let's look at this together. And I have not looked at the latest HRRR model this morning as of yet. So I'm going to be watching this with you guys as well. Let me bring this back to our current time. I'll make it 11 a.m. So again, this is the high resolution rapid refresh model. It goes out and it's a high res version, 48 hours at the most. So this is going to be a look at the precip, and then we'll take a look at temperatures and other things as well. So again, for the remainder of today, it's not going to be clean frontal passage. It's not going to be a clean line of storms coming in. There's going to be some residual left over, at least until portions of the evening hours. And from time to time on MLK Day tomorrow, I think we'll have the opportunity for a few showers as well. So this is what the model has as of 11 o'clock. Might be overdoing it just a little bit, but the placement of the rain and storms is what I would expect. You can see that it keeps things to be fairly active through the afternoon hours. It does weaken things a bit, and this is the trend I would expect to continue as we go through the remainder of the afternoon. But even by 3 o'clock, there's still a fair amount of coverage, if nothing else. You're not going to get any sunshine for today. And again, the deeper into the afternoon hours that we go, the winds will begin to turn out of the north, and it'll pull in some cooler air. Now, by sunset tonight, hopefully most of the rain is done. And then as we go overnight into tomorrow morning, we at least start out dry. And the models have been pretty inconsistent as to what they want to do for tomorrow, whether they want to bring in a little bit more rain tomorrow afternoon, or more than likely here as we get into late tomorrow night and then into Tuesday, lift another front north and provide kind of just a broad shield of light rain. But by this time, it's going to be a heck of a lot colder. So by Monday night and into Tuesday, this next batch of what should be very light rain with no thunderstorm activity, just kind of a veil, just kind of that dense overcast, but light mist or sprinkles even, but it's going to be much colder as that comes through. So the only real opportunity for storms is going to be the remainder of the morning and maybe into the early afternoon. That then clears, and then just like we had on Friday, moisture will return back out of the south and we'll start to fill back in. But by this time, it's going to be a heck of a lot colder. Speaking of that, and by the way, and I will take a look at the winter coming up as well. Here are your temperatures, right? So I'm going to let this loop up as well. You're going to see a lot more blue on this map. If you're not a fan of the cold weather, you're not going to like the forecast for most of next week. I do see some milder changes coming right towards the end of the month and into early February especially. But this next week of January is going to be brought to us by some very cold weather. And it's going to be wet to start off as well. So it's wet and cold for late Monday, Tuesday, and maybe even into early on Wednesday. So just to get you an idea, this is the rest of today. And then as we get into tomorrow, so, by daybreak tomorrow morning, temperatures have plummeted back down into the upper 30s. and mid 30s. I talked about this in the show on on Friday for tomorrow morning, where I expected there to be a lot of mid and upper 30s, but not frost, thankfully, because of the wind, right? Maybe some of the most sheltered locations could have a little bit of frost, but I'm not expecting there to be a lot of frost because of the wind. But I want you to get prepared for wind chill values tomorrow morning in a couple of our northern spots that could sneak into the upper 20s. So get ready for that. It's going to be chilly out there early tomorrow morning. All right? And it's not stopping there. Even tomorrow afternoon. So here's 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. And again, you're looking at temperatures here that might stay in the 40s. I'm hoping they get a little bit warmer than this. But again, I have not looked at this HRRR model this morning yet, so I'm looking at this with you. This is definitely a colder run of the HRRR. But can you imagine it being, about 46, 45 degrees tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock? It's possible, especially if it stays cloudier too. Okay. And then even into Tuesday morning. So here's 7 a.m. on Tuesday. And once again, temperatures that should be in the 30s and 40s. Now, it might actually be slightly warmer Tuesday morning compared to tomorrow morning because of that surge of moisture coming in with the clouds and the overcast, but it's still going to be cold. Again, because of the situation and the extra clouds and the rain, probably not a frost or freeze issue here. But then we start getting into the interesting thing of, well, all right, what's going to be happening with the potential for some winter weather, right? Look at that. So, Ed, great question. Ed's asking about the winter weather. That's exactly what I'm actually loading up right now. I don't know if this is going to go far enough in time. I might have to switch over to the GFS, but I'm trying. So to answer your question, I think we could be in for a heck of a lot of snow for portions of Texas, Louisiana, maybe even coastal Mississippi, into some of Alabama and the western panhandle of the state, okay? I think those are the areas that actually have the best chance for not only a little bit of snow, but accumulating snow, all right? And we'll take a look at some of that coming up as well. But as far as, the I-10 corridor here, Lake City to Jacksonville, probably not. It'll be close. It might be into southwest Georgia, right? But I don't know if it's going to get this far. Let me do something here real quick, guys. While I'm doing that, oh, I didn't bring that up. No worries. Let's switch over to the longer range model here. Might get us a better idea. It's very rare that when I'm coming on to you guys, I've got to use the precip type, meaning please show me the rain and the snow. So instead of just showing you reflectivity, I've got to ask the computer to also, by the way, show me all of the snow as well. So let's let that loop up for a second. Looks like it's going through you can see the timeline there. It looks like it's going through a model run update, which is fine. Once it gets to the end of the time, it will start to paint on. Basically, it's downloading its product. If this doesn't come on right away, not a big deal. I can ask it. Tell you what, let's do this. While that's coming on, I'm going to pop up all of the watches and the warnings. So let me bring on the watches and the warnings first here. I think you guys will be very shocked to see some of these watches and warnings and advisories that are currently in play for winter weather in the Deep South. as well. You guys doing well today? You know, I mean, if I wanted to actually go see a little bit of snow, I would probably get into South Central Georgia. That's probably where I would go, yeah. No doubt about it. I'd probably head to South Central Georgia. All right, waiting to see if this thing's going to cooperate. Tell you what, let's do this first. Back over to our main timeline here. I don't want to go too far. We can cover the cold weather in Monday's live show as well. I don't want to skip out of these storms too much, but I'll try and get those advisories to come on here in just a second. Going to bring back on the live radar first of all out of Melbourne. So again, if you're just tuning in right now, we've been watching some rowdier storms, which by the way did produce a 56-mile-an-hour wind gust in the Daytona Beach area at the top of the hour, right? Take a look at that, 56-mile-an-hour wind. Now, these storms are absolutely hauling, so that one's already offshore. Behind it, we already have another string of non-severe storms in portions of Marion and northern Lake counties, and now the rain is trying to set in a little bit more over the Orlando area. This is not heavy at this point in time. There are some gusts of over 20 miles an hour, but it's starting to get wet through most of the central and the western sides of Orange County towards Lake Buena Vista. So the attractions are beginning to get wet. And then you follow this line back down across I-4, where we continue to see, again, a line of showers and a few storms at the hour. Let me bring the lightning data back on for you guys. Again, there you go. And that's the live lightning count right now. And you can just see that on this northern edge, so places like Lakeland and Plant City are going to see a pretty hefty line of showers and storms, not severe, but again, wind gusts that'll probably be approaching 30 miles an hour. And there's still more to come, guys. This is not going to be the only kind of game in town. You can see the rain is beginning to develop again back over the Gainesville area. So hopefully we're done with the stronger storms, but that's not entirely, 100% guarantee. Some of these storms, even through the remainder of the morning hours, could be on the rowdier side from time to time. They could flare back up. The biggest issue is going to be the wind, right? And you can see earlier today the line of storms that came through with some of that lightning. And the lightning count is not as high as what it was, but you're still going to have some storms here rolling through that'll produce some winds of at least 40 miles an hour in a couple of spots. Now, the farther south and east that you live, the weather's going to be a little bit better later in the morning hours, and then the rain and storms will begin to set in. So my friends in Brevard County, from the Cape to Merritt Island and Palm Bay and Melbourne, and then the eastern sides of Osceola County, even Orange County, again, the weather's going to hold out a little bit better until the late morning hours into the early afternoon, but you'll get it as well. And you can see the additional storms that are still out in the east central Gulf of Mexico that have yet to roll in, right? Additional storms developing here as we speak, and any of those could flare up as well. I'm not worried about, there being any, form of, rotating storms. This is not going to be one of those higher end days where we have a tornadic threat or anything like that, but strong straight line winds that could prompt a severe thunderstorm warning or a special weather statement are still absolutely possible. Ed talks about the iciest roads. It's possible, Ed. It really just depends on where you are. I don't know, it's going to be, that's such a fast moving storm system, by the way, that it's going to be hard for me to talk about in any broad terms what I expect, because the transition from sleet to freezing rain or snow is going to be so area dependent. It's going to happen in a variety of areas and how quickly that happens, right? I'm not concerned about that across I-10 to I-75. Again, the Western Panhandle, is it a possibility? Maybe. This is a live look for you right now from our camera from the Magic Kingdom area. Again, this particular camera is just 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom. So it's a great indication of what's happening, so you guys get an idea of what's going on there. You can see that the rain has really begun to set in there in the southwest sides of Orange County, and it's just going to be a gray, wet day. So for any of my friends who were thinking about heading to the attractions, guess what? This camera is 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom. This would be a great indication of what you should expect for at least the remainder of the late morning and into the afternoon hours. You can see the trees are blowing a little bit, nothing significant, but 20 to 25 mile an hour winds. It's just a poncho day, you know. Maybe it thins out the crowds. Maybe you guys, you know, enjoy being outdoors in the rain and you don't mind it because you get to go to the attractions when it's not as busy, especially if obviously you're local. I know some folks who actually don't mind doing that for that very reason, but please just keep that in mind that, you know, it is going to be on the wetter side for the remainder of the day. And that'll just be something that will, I think, continue here through at least the mid-afternoon hours. Again, by the end of the day, could we clear out a little bit? Absolutely. We could absolutely clear out a little bit here. And if nothing else, get you drier weather. I would not expect there to be any sunshine for today. But as far as the rain coming to an end before the daylight hours are done, yes, it's absolutely a possibility. Okay, so let's get into, as I mentioned, all of the different advisories that are currently in play right now. So I'm going to come back over here, and I want you guys to look at the multitude of everything that's kind of going on right now. Get this back up full screen, and we'll take a look at it. So this is literally any advisory or watch or warning from all of the National Weather Service offices across the country, okay? For us locally, okay, you do have these special weather statements for the storms that are coming in, right? So, you know, I can click on this and it will bring up the text of it. And again, what you're going to see here is that these special weather statements are going to be for winds. Wind gusts of 50 miles an hour that could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. Again, this is another great thing about this system. You know, I can sit here and we can read this together. It will give us the times of expiration. If I right click on this, actually, it will actually bring up the text, but you get the idea. So you would expect small craft advisories, and then there is your special marine warning for the storms off of Volusia County. Now down the road, we have to watch out for some heavier rain here, and then you get into where we would have the freeze. Now at this point in time, it doesn't cover any of our area, but you get the idea that you have freeze warnings here. But you notice that there's no winter weather advisories issued, at least yet. You get to the Panhandle, and now you get under this winter weather watch, this winter storm watch. And friends, this winter storm watch goes from Houston all the way to Atlanta. This is a massive winter storm watch for areas that very rarely go under a winter storm watch. For the Pensacola area in this winter storm watch, just to give you an idea, okay? So it's from Tuesday morning until late Tuesday night. Slippery roads, especially on bridges and overpasses, right? They're calling for total snow and sleet between 1 and 3 inches and ice of a light glaze. And you guys know, right? Untreated roads, even a light glaze is going to be a problem, all right? So 1 to 3 inches of snow in the western side of the Panhandle. Again, you get up to like Perry, Georgia, south of Macon. First of all, they're calling for cold enough temperatures for potential hypothermia. That's never great. Wind chills as low as 4 above. That's the cold weather advisory. The winter storm watch, periods of snow, moderate to heavy at times, 1 to 3 inches, light sleet and freezing rain that could hit 1/10 of an inch. So yeah, Atlanta like comes to a stop with flurries. I don't even want to know what's going to be happening here in Atlanta. You've got the extreme cold and then the winter storm watch. So again, the amount of cold that could come into play here is something, right? The extreme cold warning, same thing, wind chills as low as 4 below, and then the winter storm watch of 1 to 3 inches of snow. Not great, but if you think that's bad, at least the last time I looked, they were calling for even more in Houston. Let's see. Might take a second for this to fully pop up. There we go. Yep, total snow accumulation is up to 5 inches. So near the Houston metro area and just north, they're calling for up to 5 inches of snow. It's a massive system, massive storm. Now, the low and the cold air track far enough north, we're not going to get it. All right, so, you know, no winter weather here. If you live in Jacksonville, I don't really expect there to be any winter weather as well. More than likely, like Tallahassee or Mariana is your cutoff, and then everything tracks into southeast Alabama or Georgia, kind of based on, you know, what I've seen. Doesn't mean that a couple of flurries couldn't fly across I-10, but there you go. But I'll have more on this coming up in the Monday live show tomorrow, right? We'll be a little bit closer, but then you notice how now you've got the real snow. I mean, this is bad. This is bad for areas that don't necessarily see it, and especially that don't have the road equipment to treat roads ahead of time and to clear roads fast. And then you've got what could be some massive snow totals coming up through the Appalachians and into the Northeast. Let's get back to what's going on in our area right now. Again, I just wanted to kind of give you that. We do have a new special weather statement that currently just got issued, and that is going to be for the one line that I mentioned here coming into the Lakeland area. So a special weather statement is currently in effect right now, and that goes for the next 5 minutes. Again, it's a short one, but it does include Lakeland Plant City, the airport there, Mulberry, the Plant City Airport, Lakeland Highlands, Kathleen, Gibsonia, Dover. If you live in those areas, you know what I'm talking about. And again, the main threat from this, if I just go to the text, is going to be the winds. Winds of up to 50 miles an hour. So still going to be some opportunity for some gusts from time to time to cause some isolated damage, right? These are the kinds of winds that when they gust up, they can cause some tree limbs to come down, which could lead to some power problems. Any loose objects, right, that are in your yard that are very light could get thrown about when you're talking about those kinds of winds. And again, not that long ago, we had ourselves a 56 mile an hour wind gust in Daytona Beach. So these are the kinds of winds that we would expect to see. By the way, again, if you're just tuning in, the Storm Prediction Center has put us under a 1 out of 5 risk for severe storms for today. We had some of those stronger storms earlier this morning, those severe storms in our northern zones, but now we are under that darker green, which is 1 out of 5, right? So it's not a higher end threat by any means, but it gives you an idea of the storms that we could see, meaning that in a general sense, we could have some storms pulse up to be isolated, strong to severe. On either side of us, the lighter green is just your general thunderstorm threat, right? No actual indications that the storms will be stronger there, but the opportunity for some additional storms. And again, that even goes into the northern part of the area. As I've mentioned, I don't expect this to just completely clear the area soon, but there'll be pockets. So rain beginning to move into Metro Orlando right now. It's not heavy. At this point in time, there's no lightning strikes with this, but it's going to get wet across MCO and I-4. We already looked at the Lake Buena Vista camera towards Winter Park and UCF and Chuliota. Nice little 31 mile an hour wind gust there at the airport in Sanford. Not coming with a lot of rain, but you get the idea that even outside of some of this activity. By the way, if we're just looking at these convective outlooks and I go to day 3, you don't see anything here. So we're not talking about as the rain comes back in on Tuesday to get any actual active weather here, right? There's going to be plenty of what we call mesoscale discussions based on the winter weather for areas to the north, but I'm not expecting more potential severe storms when the rain begins to set back in as we get into late Monday and early on Tuesday. But we talked about the temperatures dropping off like a rock. And if you're just tuning in right now, get prepared for what's going to be a very cold Monday and Tuesday. So back over to Lakeland right now. Again, this special weather statement is going to expire. We had some 30 mile an hour wind gusts there. But generally speaking, this is cooperating, but it is now marching across I-4. Let's loop that up. Again, this is from the live radar out of Melbourne. And this does look like it's trying to back build a little bit, back down towards Gibsonton and the Ruskin area. And there's additional storms that are becoming here. The Melbourne radar is not picking it up, but I'll show you the composite radar as well. A little healthy line coming back into Marion County, northern sides of Lake. just some good showers. You guys ready for the cooler weather as well? Let me ask you guys a question. Is there anyone who's sick like me, and sick I mean like in the head, who is actually looking forward to getting colder weather again? I just take what I can get this time of the year, right? I understand that we live in Florida and I'm a native Floridian, but I know it's coming the majority of the year. So anytime I can get a push of colder air, I don't mind it. And I'm actually one of those people who don't mind the rain either. I'll be outside in a little bit chilly, wet weather. Nope, Sherry's like, nope, not looking forward to it. Yeah, I am one of those guys. I actually try and convince my wife to take like walks when it's cloudy and wet outside, and she looks at me like I'm a psycho. I don't blame her. But I've just always enjoyed it because we get it so rarely here. But I know a lot of you live here for the warm and the dry weather, or at least the warm weather, and I understand that. But it's coming again. You can see temperatures already beginning to slip into the 50s and 60s. And to be clear, for most of Central Florida, we have already hit our daytime high today, right? Temperatures will probably hold pretty darn steady for the next couple of hours and then slowly begin to fall in the afternoon and then really plummet overnight. Again, we're going to be set up where we could have some 30s and 40s around for the beginning of MLK, King Jr. Day, and then probably not getting out of the 40s and 50s for highs for tomorrow. Like I said, we'll touch a lot more about that coming up in the CFLW live show tomorrow. By the way, if you're tuning into this live stream and you're not aware, we're doing something different here now in CFLW. I'm still covering the impactful weather live, and this channel will always only be live, but now on Monday and Fridays at 1 p.m., I do come on live and we talk about the forecast here in Central Florida. Monday's show will cover the work week ahead, and then I'll be back on Friday. We'll cover Friday and the weekend as well. Obviously, we'll still talk about the major events, even outside of those time frames. I'll give you guys some heads up. Obviously, if there's impactful weather in between these shows, like there is this morning, I'll jump on and cover it live for you guys. But that's just more consistent updates, more consistent coverage for you guys. If you can't join the live coverage at 1 o'clock, you can find the replay version under the live tab, just actually where you would find this live stream as well. Just look for the thumbnail, CFLW the show, and the date, and then you can watch the replay of what I did on those live shows at your leisure. Anytime you want, you can skip wherever you want through the video, however you want. You're in control. It's kind of like a DVR for your television, right? So you don't have to join me live. You can watch it at your convenience later that afternoon or that evening or even the next day. Again, we talk about the forecast for the week ahead. So even the next day, you're going to get a lot of new information based on that. But I will, again, excited to kind of bring you guys that next level of coverage here to CFLW. But we're always going to be live. Fiona says, yes, taking cruises to Alaska and Greenland. That's adventurous. I like that. I worked in some areas of the country that were quite cold, so I actually got used to it, enjoyed snow skiing and stuff like that. Like being back home, no doubt about it, but you certainly don't get the the amount of variety of weather here. I'm going to, the storms right now are cooperating, which is great. So let me do this. Let me bring back out to this shot here. Let's go back live. All right. So we're back live to the radar here. Again, at this point in time, I think things are looking pretty good. We don't have any current watches or warnings here. Let me do this real quick too. Just bring that off real fast and then bring it back on. Should kick it back into full live mode. There we go. Again, I can take my radar and we can look at different storm tracking modes. If you've joined me for the coverage in the summer months last year, if there are any areas of concern, my radar is going to show that, but right now everything looks to be cooperating. So I feel pretty good about the overall trend of this for right now. If I take out and show you guys the big radar picture, right? And this is the composite of all of the NEXRAD sites. I just want you to be aware that there is still some intensity of storms in the eastern side of the Gulf of Mexico. And these will be coming in. Now again, not a clean line. They're gonna be scattered. Some of this could promote additional special weather statements, maybe an isolated severe thunderstorm warning. I can't rule that out. It's something I'll be monitoring here through the rest of the day, right? But again, just because things are maybe dry in your area right now, that's not necessarily going to be the case the remainder of the day. Some folks may stay dry the rest of the day, but with this still coming in, most areas are going to get another round of at least some rain, if not some rumbles of thunder. And again, you can see the lightning count has been very impressive. It's come down a bit since the early morning storms that were a little bit rowdier, but there's still some lightning to come through here as well. So we've got to give it to at least the mid-afternoon hours, if not even the evening, for this to completely clear. So just be careful of that for the remainder of the afternoon hours. But at this point in time, the storms are relatively quieter. I'm going to try and load up again this map to show you guys that winter weather. See if it'll do it here. Now, again, the situation and why this is going to be such an interesting storm is that you have true cold Arctic air plunging all the way down into the southern plains. At the same point in time, you've got an area of low pressure trying to develop on the northwest side of the Gulf of Mexico. So now you're giving yourself that lift that you need, and you've got the cold air on the northern side with that north to northeast wind coming in. And that's why you start to see this coastal snowstorm develop in a place that you wouldn't see it. I want to be clear. Do you notice how there's no snow in Oklahoma City or anywhere across I-35 until you get to the coast? It's because the moisture and that area of low pressure developing is the combination that you need. So you can see the snow beginning to develop here late tomorrow and then on Tuesday, and just drifting across I-10. I think southeast Texas, Louisiana, coastal Mississippi, coastal and the southern sides of Alabama, and our far western panhandle have the best opportunity for some accumulating snow, and then we'll see how it tracks up into Georgia, right? But again, this is the latest run of the GFS, and you can see for us, we stay green or even yellow or orange, and that's just higher intensity rain. Could there be a slushy mix across the state line? It's plausible, but the air is a little bit warmer here, a little bit farther southeast that you go. But again, really unusual weather, going to be very interesting here coming up. And again, if you have any friends who live in the western and even the central panhandle, you're going to have a decent chance for that. For us, it's cold rain, and I mean cold rain. I mean like 40s and 50s outside as this quick system moves through. But we're going to have some winter weather in the deep south to continue to cover, and we'll have much more of that coming up for tomorrow afternoon. Okay, friends, back over to the live radar right now. Let's throw the wind gusts on. Just one last look at things. I think we're looking pretty good here, though. So again, I'm going to wrap up this live stream for now as the threat for severe storms has come down a bit. One more, again, reminder. I do expect there to be more rain and storms the remainder of the day. I'll monitor the situation. I hope that they cooperate, meaning that they're not strong to severe. If the necessity crops up and I need to come back on and cover these storms live for you guys, I will. You can see the wind gusts continue to be area-wide, 25, 30 miles an hour. We had a peak wind at 10 a.m. in Daytona Beach of 56 miles an hour. So scattered showers with some gusty winds will continue. And then behind this, it gets outrageously cold and wet again. Friends, I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. If I don't see you as I leave again, if you want to do me a quick favor, please like this live stream. Please subscribe to CFLW if you haven't yet. Have the notifications on. Again, you're not going to get inundated with notifications here as we're a live-only channel. So you're not going to get, every day, oh, here's a notification of another video popping up. No. When you get a notification, I'm live, and I'm live for a reason. So that's kind of like the heads up to tune in to see what's happening in your area. Again, CFLW, the show is now up and running. That's Monday and Friday at 1 p.m. So please have the notifications on for that. Again, I want to thank our sponsor, the Lean Law Firm out of Central Florida. They are your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They do cover homeowners, condo owners, and associations across the entire state. Anything that could impact yourself or your property. So hail, hurricanes, floods, burst pipes, or auto accidents, they're there to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. They do offer free consultation and policy reviews. You see their website on the bottom of your screen, leanonmelaw.com, 407-502-0053. And we welcome Lean Law Firm to be the exclusive sponsor here of Central Florida Weather Live. We appreciate them. Very important. to have them on board. Very important to have you guys watching as well. Friends, I appreciate you guys. You have a great rest of your Sunday. If I don't see you again, and that would be a good thing because that means the storms are cooperating. And if nothing else, I'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. for CFLW, the show here. We'll be talking a lot more about that cold rain moving in. Until then, friends, you take care. I'll see you soon.